Dr. Mike.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chitra, for having me in your course. So there are several complications that can happen because of LASIK. So this time they could be refractive complications, undercorrection, overcorrection, associated with laser or associated with the flap. So this I am going to just show a couple of videos for flap related complications. So this is the particular case where we were using a new keratome. This is the mark. Unfortunately, we didn't use ink here, but there is still the indentation that is there. 100 micron flap. You can see here that this is the flap. It goes fully and then comes. But just watch here that this is a raw surface. And if you look here, the flap, it's a free flap, and you can see that this is an edge that is avulsed. So never ever take away your microkeratome with a jerk. Because the flap may be, in case there is a free cap, the cap or the flap may be in the microkeratome. So now what we have to do is that we have to put the flap back so that there is a good adhesion. And you can see here that we are trying to put this at the proper place. And in this particular case, we are going to look at the marks. Plus, you can see the hinge that we have had. The hinge is going to be the area where we are going to look at wanting to match the avulsed edge. You can see this avulsed edge, it is not round. So you can actually use this for going to match it. And once we are drying it up, we see that this is not the right side up. It seems to be the stroma which is up. So therefore what you have to do is that you can put it upside down. Maybe you could do a taco technique also beforehand, but it's very difficult to find out right before putting it. So now we can see it's a shining edge on top, and we are sure that the flap is in the proper position. So all that you have to do is the alignment. I'll just go forward. I'll just also show you. Can you see this mark here just before? See, that is the mark which is there, which you can see. These are the marks, and we align this cut edge. And we dry up the flap perfectly. Once you have dried up the flap, you need to wait for a couple of minutes. I normally tend to wait for 4 or 5 minutes. You can see again the marks which are there. They are very well aligned. This is also very well aligned. And we wait for the adhesion to happen and remain there. And then you put a bandage contact lens, and the patient does very, very well. And this is the post-op picture for that. Now, this is something that I wish to say is that in case of a microkeratome, if there is a suction loss or there is a break in the suction, or if the motor gets jammed, do not withdraw and do not cut, because this is apparently what happened when you have a situation. The patient came to me after 3 days of the procedure. You can see an attempt has been made, like it's a free flap to put it there. But if you look at the back side of the flap, you can see it's a biplanar flap. So when the motor came, most probably it came to this level, got jammed, went back, and then came at the next level. And therefore you are getting a biplanar flap that is there. Whatever you may try in this particular case, we put the biplanar flap again and tried that it should be well adhered. Obviously it's edematous, it would not adhere, and we went ahead and put sutures so as to keep it in place. And once the sutures have been applied over time, you can see that this particular flap, we were just leaving it, put bandage contact lens. It's an eccentric flap also. That is there, but this is the post-op day 1, but over time the flap started to melt. 3 weeks post-op, we threw away the flap, and the cornea has a lot of plasticity, and you can see that because of the plasticity, this is the edge. The patient did regain good workable vision. Flap related complications, when you have toxic material in between, there could be a central toxic keratopathy or a DLK. If you have that, you will just go ahead and take it off, and you need to wash it well. You can use antibiotics and maybe a drop of steroid, but you have to remove this entire material which is there, and do not kind of postpone the wash which is there. So this is what you do as regards the DLK. Epithelial ingrowths can also happen, and epithelial ingrowths happen if the flap is not well adhered under these circumstances. This is there is a track here. I don't know whether you can make out, and this is a huge patient has been there for a long time. Do not ignore this patient. The patient came to us from outside, and you have to actually relift the flap, which is not at all difficult. Even after several years, the flap can be relifted, and you can see here, once the flap is relifted, There is, because of the corneal melt that has happened, it's slightly difficult to and see that epithelial nests that have gone. So be very careful that you don't kind of rupture or perforate the flap which is there. So you lift it up, and you can see in this particular case that this is it. You wash it. You can use alcohol. You can use mitomycin C, and you can put glue and contact lens. So this is, you can see, this is the area where you can see that this is where you had the epithelial ingrowth and the collagen melting. So glue can be put at that particular time, which we are putting. So this is the glue, so that you don't get an epithelial ingrowth again. And then you will put a bandage contact lens on top of it. So you can see that this is the glue that is being applied. And we can then go ahead and put a contact lens, so you can see, and the patient did well. When you are having regression and you need to do enhancements, the problem is what should you do? So there are a couple of things that you can do. You can do an ASOCT, which is very important, because that by even if you have fed, say I have used a keratome of 120 microns, it is not sure that the flap was 120 microns. So doing an ASOCT, you will get the flap thickness, you will get the epithelial thickness, plus you will get the residual stromal bed. That is most important for you to get the residual stromal bed. You can do a flap lift anytime, even several years, but the longer the flap has been there and you are doing a flap lift, the chances of an epithelial ingrowth are there. So these are certain things you can mark with a 30 gauge needle on a slit lamp. You can lift it with a blunt spatula, etc. But normally with a relift, the issue is only of never the issue is of identifying, but the issue is only of an epithelial ingrowth. So what I do as a normal case is, see, I'm drying this, and you just depress. Can you just see, if you depress here, you can see that this line comes into view. So that is the only thing. I never do it on the slit lamp. I'm never bothered about it. I will just depress after making the flap dry, the edge dry, and then you can easily lift it up and go back and do it. When you're doing a recut, that's always a problem, because in a recut, you can have slivers, or you can go into a different plane. That is very, very difficult. So a PRK is a good thing. If you are recutting, then you could use at a deeper plane and a bigger flap that you can do. And specifically in a femto, what has been described is that if you can clearly identify where the femto edge is, you can just do the side cut and do that side cut inside of the, not outside. When you're using a blade, you do it outside, but when you are using a femto, you do it inside, so that you can lift the flap from inside, and it is like a fresh cut that is there. So this is when let's come to a couple of complications with the femto laser. You can see in this particular case, this is a stop of the laser. And is there any other talk, Dr. Chitra? You can tell me to stop whenever you want.
No, there is one recorded talk.
Okay, fine. So this is, you can go back again in the same femto, and you can pick up the flap. I'll just show you that this is where the femto stopped earlier. And you can see here that we are just picking it up from this particular point. See here, and this is where the second cut, the first cut stopped. So this is where the first cut stopped, and you will get away with this very well. There is the corneal opacity that you can see, which, you can see here. This is the laser going. There's a corneal opacity here, and there's a vertical gas breakthrough. So if there are corneal opacities, the femto could be a problem. If there is any foreign body, this is the eyelash which is there. You can see this is going to give you a cold spot, and this is going to give you a problem. So remove all the debris which are there. You can have an air bubble go into from the collector channels. You can see this is a proper flap that is happening, and this is an air bubble. It will not, you have to do the tracker off. That's about it, and there is no other problem that is there. This is the final video I'll wish to show. If there are such macro striations, there is no way that a lift of the flap and just a rewash which was done elsewhere can do anything. You have to do it on retro illumination. You have to remove the anchorage of the epithelium that is there. And once you have removed, you put hypotonic saline, you relift the flap, and then after the flap is swollen, you will use the Merosol sponge to iron it out. Take your time to iron it out, and on the table you will never get the entire stria going off. So don't worry about it. The folds have been swollen. Put a bandage contact lens, and the patient will do well. That is there. So challenges are what makes life interesting, and overcoming them is what makes it meaningful. So there could be complications of LASIK as regards the flap, but knowing how to manage it is going to be something which is very important. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Dr. Maipal, for a very extensive talk which covered nearly everything.